Hi guys, hope you're well. Today we're going to be looking at changing a washer on a tap, or as the Americans would call it, a faucet. And I'm probably going to reseat it as well. Okay, let's get going. So the first thing I needed to do was isolate the water. There was nothing in the unit underneath the sink, so I had to go in the garage to turn it off at the mains where the water entered the property. I had to isolate it at the hot water cylinder in the airing cupboard on this gate valve. I'm not a fan of gate valves, but at least this one was working today. Once the hot and cold are isolated, the next thing to do is to drain the system from the taps or the faucets of the hot and the cold water. This took quite a while. As you can see, the taps never really stopped dripping. This one did eventually. This one never did. So quite a lot of water was wasted in this process, which could have been stopped or prevented if these were in place. Isolation valves, one on the hot and one on the cold flow to the taps. I'll be doing a video about those soon though. Next important step is to put the plug into the waste to stop anything going down. So I'm going to quickly look at some of the tools that I used for this job. So the first thing was an adjustable spanner. I think you guys in America call this a wrench. We used a cross-headed screwdriver, a small set of grips, Stanley knife, Stanley blade, whichever you want to call it, and a reseating tool. This one's made by Monument, which is quite a good one. So let's get going. So once the water was isolated, the first thing I needed to do was remove the cap. So the flat-headed screwdriver was not too thick to get underneath it, so I had to use the blade of the Stanley knife to pop it off. Cross-headed screwdriver just to remove the screw that was holding the handle in. But that's somewhere safe. Then we got the adjustable spanner or wrench onto the stem nut. Hold the head of the tap tight on the spout, and you really do need to give it some force, going anti-clockwise. Once we'd loosened it, it was quite easy to get off at that point. What was quite interesting though was to see how much the washer had actually spread, and it wouldn't come out the tap very easily, as you can see. Came out eventually though. As you can see, it's shot. So the next thing I did was get a bit of kitchen paper, kitchen roll, just clean out the inside of it. As you can see in a second, a load of muck and gunk comes out of it, and actually a little bit of the washer was in there as well, as you can see there. Something I always do when I change the washers on the tap is always reseat it. Inside the tap, there's going to be a little groove where the washer's been sat. So I use this tool just to try and grind that away. So it comes with 4 different threads. So it's just a question of finding the right thread for the tap. And then there's 3 grinding ends. Again, you need to find the right size that's going to fit through the tap body. So put the correct thread on, then put the grinding tool on. Put the grinding tool inside the tap body, that one fits, and then you screw the thread into the tap body so that the stem of the tool and the grinding body doesn't move and it's sat rigid, as you will see now. So screw that down so that spindle that's going through the middle will not go anywhere. Now just turn that a good 10 to 15 times, just grind the inside of the tap away, create a nice seat for that washer to sit back down on. So once you feel you've removed enough of the material inside the tap, remove the tool by unthreading it, take it outside of the body of the tap, and then like to get a little bit of damp kitchen roll or kitchen paper, kitchen towel, whichever you want to call it. Stick it inside the tap just to try and scoop out some of the filings that you've just made, as you can see here. And And then just a quick view inside the tap just to show you the new seat that's been created for the washer to sit on. And then it's a chance to get your new washer chosen. So just very quickly, just to show you the washer that came off and then the washer that's going to be replacing it. As you can see, it was absolutely shot, it cracked, so it was about time this was replaced. So with the new washer in place, put the stem back into the body of the tap and tighten it up. I normally go hand tight and then just get the spanner and then just holding the spout of the tap or the faucet, just tighten it fairly tight. Put the handle back on and then just start to screw that little screw back in. Once that's tight, I always close the tap and then pop the cap back on. So now the other tap, again, pop the cap off with the blade. Very careful, obviously. Screwdriver to remove the screw holding the handle on. Remove that. Get your adjustable spanner or your wrench holding the spout of the tap. This one was quite tight, so I actually had to ditch the one I was using and get a longer one for a bit more leverage, which eventually, there you go, cracked open. So remove the stem. Again, as you can see, the washer was completely shot, it wouldn't come out. Missed the lens of the camera, but as you can see, yeah, it's got a crack in it again, probably from coming out, but so once again, give the inside a bit of a clean. To show you, before I got the reseating tool on it and ground a bit away, you can see a little bit of a groove on the bit where the tap would sit, or the washer would sit rather. So put the grinding bit in, screw the thread into the tap body, give it a good couple of turns. Once you're happy that you've ground enough away, you can then unscrew the grinding tool, removing it. As you see, it's a lovely shiny ring then, so it has made a difference. Bit of kitchen roll inside to remove the filings. Pull it out, making sure nothing's left. Take the old washer off the stem. Put the new washer on. And put the screw back in that was holding the washer in place. Once you're happy that that washer's screw is screwed back in, put the stem back into the body of the tap and tighten it up with your fingers. Get your adjustable spanner or your wrench, holding the spout of the tap again so the tap doesn't move. Tighten it up, put the handle back on, screw the screw back in to keep the handle in place, and then pop the cap back on. Close the tap, and then it's time to pressurize the system again by turning it on at the main. Then comes the moment of truth. Has it made a difference? So this is the new washer versus the old washer. If you've enjoyed today's video, guys, give us a like, give us a subscribe so you don't miss any more, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy. Bye.